Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing good today. Well, I have created a project called Old School Paganism. This is on Google Plus communities. Um, and the purpose of this is to talk about the bare essentials in paganism. What the pagans used 2,000 plus years ago in their beliefs. Because I have been probably overcritical on Wicca because of its extreme usage of New Age concepts into its belief system. And it's not just Wicca. In paganism abroad, there is a lot of New Age concepts being thrown in it. And it's not something I agree with. Because we have all these people that are talking about, well, we're doing things the old way, back in the day. Bring me that old time religion type stuff. But then they're going, and here's this new age Justice League of America tarot deck to tell you your future. You see, that doesn't work with me. And so I have been doing some research, doing a lot of thinking about what is old school paganism. And so it is about using what we had available at the time. You see, we live in a world where we can easily get a lot of resources. We can get an anime, a knife that is used strictly for ritual purposes. In our modern world, we say that the anime can never be used to cut anything in the mundane world. Once we do that, it is not to be used for a ritual. And, that's kind of a weird rule, because I am very sure that back in the day, they didn't have the option of going, oh, that's my ritual knife. No, they used whatever they could use. So the same knife that they used for rituals, they probably used in making food for supper. And that is just the way it is. That knife they used, to cut some meat, maybe cut potatoes and all that, and they washed it, and then later on they grabbed it and they might have cut some herbs and such for a spell, for a potion. And then they might go and do a ritual, and if they used a knife for rituals, it was the same knife. Because they couldn't have 40 different knives and have each one a specific knife. I mean, a knife's a knife. They might have had 4 or 5 at the most for knives. Just in my understanding. A lot of Wiccans, pagans today love to talk about their book of shadows, their grimoire. And they didn't have that back then. Okay, because it was not feasible. Now, you've got to remember there was also the burning times, but what I'm talking about predates the burning times. Because in the burning times, if you were caught with written documentation of magic, you were dead. Okay, but this is before the burning times. A lot of the people were not literate. They had very, very basic writing skills. And then getting the paper, papyrus, the reeds, skin, whatever they could use to write was very hard to get a hold of. The ink, the paper, the ink and the pen, it's probably also difficult to get. And so you couldn't have somebody writing down a book. They taught their students, their community, the skills. So if you were a student, you were taught and you had to remember it. You had to think. You couldn't just go, oh, let me write that down, teach. That just didn't work. So your grimoire, your book of shadows, is not old school. the tarot deck. Now, the tarot deck has an interesting history. It does. And at some points it was just a game. And, that is original, not originally. A lot of people have placed it in what I have researched in the Mediterranean area. So the Celts, which is what I focus on, did not have a tarot deck. That wasn't their thing. But we have a lot of people that have Wicca, which is a lot of Celtic influences. But we have these other groups that are having tarot decks in their practice, their tools. And that just doesn't fit into what is basically historically accurate for the pagans 2,000 years ago. Now, so I gotta finish this. The tarot deck is a New Age concept. It has not been a part of paganism, period. A lot of people use it in their pagan path, and that is for the people that like to put New Age concepts into it. The tarot deck is a pop culture instrument, and the latest creations of tarot decks prove this. Last week, I saw somebody post that they had the Justice League of America tarot deck. Oh my gosh, they have Gravity Falls. They even have a Twin Peaks themed tarot deck. Now these are modern pop culture concepts that have no connection with the earth. And paganism is about earth-based religion, and so here you're taking someone that is not even connected with the earth and those energies, and throwing it into your practice. So the tarot deck just, to me. Now, the pagans were able to do divination in many other ways, because you do have your palm reading. There was reading tea leaves. There was, I had them all written down at one point. Palm reading, tea reading. They were throwing coins, throwing sticks, runes. That was the main one there. They could easily get some small pieces of wood cut, and they could make a set of runes. And so somebody might be told to pull a rune or a couple of runes out of a bag, and that was a way of doing divination. Now that is historically accurate, but like I said, the tarot deck just isn't old school. We also have a problem with herbs because people were limited to what was growing around them. Okay, like for me, I can use whatever is growing around Iowa, which is quite a bit actually, and might be able to, work some things out according to the high magic ritual system with all their specifics on herb usage. But somebody in Scotland might have a hell of a time getting half the herbs that is now listed in, like, Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Herbs. So, we are lucky to live in a society and at a level where we can import a specific herb, and you can use it for whatever we need to. I mean, like for me, right here, St. John's wort, I use it on a daily basis. But in Iowa, do we grow that? No. So there are times where we can't go and have all these complex herbs and all that to work our magics. We have to work with what is around us. And so there has got to be some contemplation about how we deal with herbs in our world, you know, compared to the way they had to back 2,000 plus years ago. So I'm telling you that we did not have all these wonderful things back then, and that's true. But a belief system, a religion, however you want to consider paganism, to survive must evolve. It must evolve and form along with the society that uses it. And so today we live in a society where we can have the Book of Shadows, the Grimoire. We can have all these herbs, all these minerals and all that. We can have these specialty anime. But we also have to think, is it realistic with the way that it was originally conceived 2,000 plus years ago? So I grab books, I look at them, and I shake my head in disbelief on some of them. What the hell we have? A lot of them seem to be full of New Age concepts. Theosophy, Madame Blavatsky. I always have problems with her name. She has had a lot of influence in our modern pagan beliefs. She has toured the world and bringing various religious beliefs together and merged them into theosophy. She is the one who has brought esoteric Buddhist, Hindu concepts and mixed them with Christian concepts in Europe, and she had a lot of theosophy groups. So you wonder why Buddhism and Hinduism is popular in modern paganism. It is because of people like Blavatsky that has imported those cultures, those tenets of belief, and infused them in with modern society through New Age techniques. So we have to also decide which of these techniques does not apply to paganism compared to the way paganism was 2,000 years ago. You see, let's take Wicca. Now, what Wicca talks about is that you have a lord and a lady, okay? And under their tenets, one god is all gods, one goddess is all goddesses, okay? That's generally how they view things. Each tradition has different rules and all that. So I'm just speaking in very general on that. But when you look at the old school paganism, the Celts, they were polytheists. The Norse were polytheists. The Greeks, the Romans, polytheists. We didn't believe in a god and goddess. No. We believed in multiple gods and multiple goddesses. They all were unique. They all had a specific persona, personal energies, and all that. We did not go, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, we need to talk to this goddess. No. You treated all the goddesses and all the gods with respect in your pantheon. And if there was something that you needed work on that a specific god or goddess worked on, you then were able to talk to all of it, but you had to have a relationship with all of them. And not going, well, Okay, this is Arduina, and she's just another aspect of Kaliach. No, that's not how old school paganism worked. Okay? This video is to make people think. Now, I have tried to talk about this before with a lot of people, and I constantly get the, you cannot tell me what to believe. I'm not telling you what you can and cannot believe. Honestly, I'm not. But you cannot constantly throw in different concepts, different beliefs from different time periods and different religions and put it all together and say, but it's still pagan. Now, maybe your beliefs, since you put them all together and all that, have more in line with Hinduism. And there are a lot of pagans now that have redefined paganism to be a European Mediterranean-based belief system under that umbrella. And that Hinduism is a standalone religion. Same thing with the Buddhists. We believe that a lot of the Buddhism is a standalone religion. We believe in having respect for other religions. Okay? So Native American mysticism, that's its own entity. European and Mediterranean Sea area religions are their own unique area. Okay? And so the mixing and all that, then saying it's all good, doesn't really work out because you're not showing respect for these other beliefs. And so if you are cherry-picking belief systems to find something that feels good and, it has all the wonderful aspects of this, and that, but it doesn't have the requirements that all the same religions had in them, you are not doing those religions proper gratitude and respect. So if you're wanting to take from different religions, make sure you also find out why they did things a certain way, because the reason why is important. And if you remove the reason why from a belief but do certain things, you're not getting the point. You're not getting the message. It's kind of like the difference between the Greeks and the Celts. The Greeks believed in cutting everything down into their basic core components. Now, Wicca loves this because, we're talking about earth, air, fire, and water. Okay, and spirit for those who take spirit as an element as well. Well, the Celts believed in the three realms. You have the sky, the earth, and the sea. So we looked at it differently, and there was a reason why. The Greeks wanted to tear everything down to their core components, where the Celts were looking at an ecosystem, how something works in its own realm. So they take everything that's in the sky and they say, this is sky, this is earth, and this is the sea. Each one is its own ecosystem, and they give it all respect. And so if you are following a Celtic path and you are trying to decipher everything into its core components, you're ignoring what the Celts did, how the Celts felt, how the Celts think. And thus you're not showing respect to one of the main core components of Celtic belief. Okay? I'm starting to ramble on here, and I think I better call this video quits because it's already at 19 minutes. So anyway, everybody please, think about your Celtic path and find out how much of it's New Age and how much of it is old school, and then ask yourself, can you say that you're following the old ways? Okay, something to ponder. Everybody, take care. Be at peace.